Hi, I'm Lindsay with Nomad.com. I'm a web design agency owner and I help people just like you start their own web design business. I've been in web design for 15 years and there's a lot I've learned along the way. Here are the top 5 things I've learned that I wish I knew sooner. Number 1, contract. When I first got started, I didn't have a contract and I regret it. Not only did the project go way beyond the timeline I had scheduled it for, but the customer became very difficult to work with because we didn't have parameters set up officially to guide the project and keep it on the rails. In the end, despite doing everything I could to keep that project alive, the client ended up charging back for the project and even continued to use my work on his website. The entire experience was soul-crushing as a single mom. It literally took me months to recoup from that experience. From that moment on, I took my contract extremely seriously, and here are 3 things that I would make sure to have in my contract if I was doing it all over again. The first one is a clear scope of work. Sometimes clients forget what was covered in the discovery calls, and they think that something was said and it may not have been. A clear scope of work prevents any confusion about what is being done and what they're receiving as a deliverable. Another thing that's really important is expectations to create their content. Listen, you are not an expert in roofing. You really rely on your client to provide the content that describes how their business operates. This is not something that you can do yourself. And in order for you to meet the timelines of the web project, they need to provide that content in a timely manner. What I've learned really helps with this is I put a clause in my contract that says that they have a certain amount of time to provide that content. What I do to help them is I have multiple ways that I can assist them in creating that content, but that hard timeline has really kept my projects on target. And that's really important when you're juggling multiple web design projects because one customer not providing the content that you need can impact all the other projects following. The third thing you want in your contract is late fees. One downside of working for yourself is that you're really relying on your client to pay on time. This can be critical to keeping your business operating smoothly. Sometimes clients don't pay on time, and it's important to have structure within your contract that you can remind them of so that when they're late, there's a pressure point that you can apply to get them to pay on time. Number 2, reviews. Reviews are such a critical component to being successful as a web designer. Web design is a huge investment for a lot of people, and they want to make sure that they're going to get a good product out for the money that they're investing. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients come to me and tell me that they spent thousands of dollars on a website that turned out awful. And as a business owner myself, I can feel the pain of that crushing investment. There's no ROI on that for the business owner. Because of this, people are going to be doing a lot of research ahead of time to make sure that they're working with someone who really knows what they're doing. And the best way to validate this online is through reviews. Now, getting reviews as a new web developer or designer is tricky. To get the first 5 reviews, what I recommend is to do 5 small projects. I would go on social media and offer my services for a really discounted rate, and at the end of each project, ask each client if they'd be willing to leave a Google review, and then send them a link directly to your profile. I cannot emphasize enough how important reviews are. And I know a lot of people get scared in asking for reviews, but this is literally the lifeblood of your business. And I have not met a single person who has been hesitant to leave a review. So do the scary thing after each project and be sure to ask. Number 3, pricing. Pricing can be so intimidating. I remember when I was first getting started, I would have done web design for free. So asking people to pay money was so scary. I didn't want to be rejected. I didn't want to put anybody out. I didn't want to make people feel obligated and create a bad experience. And it was just so hard to overcome that. The one thing that really helped me was creating a sort of bottom line. What was the bare minimum I was willing to accept for a web design project? This really helped me because there was like a hard line. So if someone wanted to negotiate, that was fine, but there was a basement to what I was willing to accept. And so it helped me feel like I would still get what I needed out of the project in terms of income, but it also gave a little wiggle room for clients who wanted to get a little bit of a deal. The 4th thing is positioning. Something I unknowingly did well in my business is I positioned myself as a boutique brand. And doing this, when people called my business line, they expected to pay boutique prices. And it really helped me justify those larger fees for a web design project. Now, this may not be the strategy for everyone. There are plenty of my competitors out there charging a fraction of what I charge, but in my experience, I'd rather manage 2 or 3 web design projects than manage 20 at one time. Projects can be impacted really easily by clients. As a professional, it's my job to keep everything running smoothly. So to prevent a bottleneck that is out of my control, I really minimize the amount of projects that I take on at any given time. Number 5, saying no. It's really easy when you've got a 7K project in the pipeline to want to say yes. But there are times where it's important to say no. This exact situation happened to me. I had a business reach out and they were ready to invest in a killer website. So we started the process. I did the interview, I figured out what their goals were, I figured out what they liked on their existing site and what they didn't like. I even went in person to tour their facility to make sure that we were nailing their vision. Where things got a little off is when I sent the contract over to be signed. Most of my clients don't have any issue with the contract whatsoever. They'll sign and send it back. I'll have some people ask about a clause or two, but that's typically it. This one was sent back with a lot of red lines through it. They wanted clauses taken out. And it made me feel really uncomfortable because I've learned in the past my contract is my safety net. And while there is room for reasonable negotiation, this one particular client was asking for leeway that I was not willing to give. And so even though I had a $7,000 project on the line, I said no, and I stand by that to this day. So there they are, the top 5 things I wish I had known before I got started in web design. Which one of these helped you the most? Leave a comment below and let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching. I started YouTube not really knowing what was in store for me, and at this point it's become a real passion project to pour everything I know about web design into the online community so other people can have the opportunities that I've had. None of this would be possible without people taking the time to watch these videos, comment, subscribe, and check out nomad.com. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you. If this content helped you and you'd like to learn more about starting your own web design business, check us out at nomad.com. We'll see you guys later.